Hi everybody! Today we're on lesson 72 from the Workbook A Course in Miracles. My name's Janet Melody and today I'm going to read through today's lesson with you all, and if you want to read it in your own time, the link is under this video. So we're going to first get the statement that we need today to keep in our minds, and that is holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. I'll just say that again. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Okay, so here is our daily sort of duties, what we need to do to get this message into our mindset. While we have recognized that the ego's plan for salvation is the opposite of God's, we have not yet emphasized that it is an active attack on his plan and a deliberate attempt to destroy it. In the attack, God is assigned the attributes which are actually associated with the ego, while the ego appears to take on the attributes of God. The ego's fundamental wish is to replace God. In fact, the ego is the physical embodiment of that wish, for it is that wish that seems to surround the mind with a body, keeping it separate and alone, and unable to reach other minds except through the body that was made to imprison it. The limitation on communication cannot be the best means to expand communication, yet the ego would have you believe that it is. Although the attempt to keep the limitations that a body would impose is obvious here, it is perhaps not so apparent why holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. But let us consider the kinds of things you are apt to hold grievances for. Are they not always associated with something a body does? A person says something you do not like. He does something that displeases you. He betrays his hostile thoughts in his behavior. You are not dealing here with what the person is. On the contrary, you are exclusively concerned with what he does in a body. You are doing more than failing to help him, freeing him from the body's limitations. You are actively trying to hold him to it by confusing it with him and judging them as one. Herein is God attacked, for if his daughter is only a body, so must she be as well. A creator wholly unlike her creation is inconceivable. If God is a body, what must his plan for salvation be? What could it be but death? In trying to present himself as the author of life and not of death, he is a liar and a deceiver, full of false promises and offering illusions in place of truth. The body's apparent reality makes this view of God quite convincing. In fact, if the body were real, it would be difficult indeed to escape this conclusion. And every grievance that you hold insists that the body is real. It overlooks entirely what your brother is. It reinforces your belief that he is a body and condemns him for it. And it asserts that his salvation must be death, projecting this attack onto God and holding him responsible for it. To this carefully prepared arena where angry animals seek for prey and mercy cannot enter, the ego comes to save you. God made you a body. Very well. Let us accept this and be glad. As a body, do not let yourself be deprived of what the body offers. Take the little you can get. God gave you nothing. The body is your only saviour. It is the death of God and your salvation. This is the universal belief of the world you see. Some hate the body and try to hurt and humiliate it. Others love the body and try to glorify and exalt it. But while the body stands at the centre of your concept of yourself, you are attacking God's plan for salvation and holding your grievances against him and his creation, that you may not hear the voice of truth and welcome it as friend. Your chosen Saviour takes his place instead. It is your friend. He is your enemy. We will try today to stop this senseless attacks on salvation. We will try to welcome it instead. Your upside-down perception has been ruinous to your peace of mind. You have seen yourself in a body and the truth outside you, locked away from your awareness by the body's limitations. Now we are going to try to see this differently. The light of truth is in us, where it was placed by God. It is the body that is outside us and is not our concern. To be without a body is to be in our natural state. To recognize the light of truth in us is to recognize ourselves as we are. To see ourselves as separate from the body is to end the attack on God's plan for salvation and to accept it instead. And whenever his plan is accepted, it is accomplished already. Wow, this is such a big one to wrap our heads around, isn't it? Because we have given ourselves such meaning by this body, this identity, this name, this where we're going. Everything surrounds the body. How it interacts with others, how it is in a job, how it is with family, how it sees the world, and then how others project back onto it. It's like this vicious circle of back and forth, and it's no wonder we're never satisfied, because we have given this body to be the wholeness that we think we are, and it's not the case. The wholeness is within a light within us that is shining through, and it is moving things around, and it is far, far greater than what we are right now. This little body is just it's like a speck of dust in the vastness of what we actually are. And we have given a speck of dust more importance than the vastness of the world, which is like moving and expanding, and it's just amazing. And yeah, gosh, it's just so hard to get your head around this one. Our goal in the longest practice periods today is to become aware that God's plan for salvation has already been accomplished in us. To achieve this goal, we must replace attack with acceptance. As long as we attack it, we cannot understand what God's plan for us is. We are therefore attacking what we do not recognize. Now we are going to try to lay judgment aside and ask what God's plan for us is. What is salvation, Father? I do not know. Tell me that I may understand. Yeah, we need to ask this so much because we don't want to attack, I guess, what we are, because that's just going to make us more, I guess, feeding the ego, keeping that anger and just the problems going, the grievances, isn't it? When we get angry that this is what we've done, we've given our power away to an artificial physical thing that we think is there, and it's an illusion, and the truth is we're so much more greater and just brighter, that we're just pure energy of light. That's what we are. We have to accept that. That is what we are. And so we need to ask God, what is salvation, Father? So what does it look like to live in a world as a light? To live in this world as just our truth. I do not know. Tell me that I may understand. Then we will wait in quiet for his answer. We have attacked God's plan for salvation without waiting to hear what it is. We have shouted our grievances so loudly that we have not listened to his voice. We have used our grievances to close our eyes and to stop our ears. Now we would see and hear and learn. What is salvation, Father? Ask and you will be answered. Seek and you will find. We are no longer asking the ego what salvation is and where to find it. We are asking it of truth. Be certain then that the answer will be true because of whom you ask. Whenever you feel your confidence wane and your hope of success flicker and go out, repeat your question and your request, remembering that you are asking of the infinite creator of infinity, who created you like himself. What is salvation, Father? I do not know. Tell me that I may understand. And those words are kind of like words, because God doesn't need words. Love doesn't need words. But the words that we're using there is like a resonance of energy that we're sending back to the Creator to bring back the truth. And when I guess if we can hear, accept the understanding in a different concept maybe, because maybe we're waiting for a voice to say, this is what it is. But maybe it's going to come by, we'll just feel. I mean, we've got to stay open to any possibility, not just it's coming in this form, because again, that's ego, isn't it? It wants to control it. It's going to come like this, or it won't happen. That little voice is the one that's going to stop you. All the grievances, this is rubbish, da, 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 of course it's real, that's going to stop you. It's like you've got to stop your mind in its entirety. Of like, well, you can't stop it, I guess. The mind is always going to think, but not get attached to it, because the mind is thinking, and then we've become the thoughts, and then we've made a body. It's just so... it's so hard to put words into what this is, you know? Like, I can get the grasp of what it's saying, but I can't say what is going to shine through in asking these questions, you know? It's like, it's going to come in so many different ways, I guess. It's going to come in the way that you'll understand it, so that then you'll be the light, because it's always trying to communicate to us. And it's like, because we get so loud and so focused on the body and the grievances in the world, we're not actually connected to what we are. We're so busy in this world creating what we think is real that we have lost our true connection. It's like we're kind of like ignoring it all the time. Like, oh, I'm busy here, and it's like this light shining down. It's like, are you going to look up? No, I've got to get on. This is what's important in my world. So yeah, we've got to really shift our thinking today, really, in a huge way. Because he will answer, be determined to hear. One or perhaps two shorter practice periods an hour will be enough for today, since they will be somewhat longer than usual. These exercises should begin with this. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Let me accept it instead. What is salvation, Father? So they're the shorter ones. We've got 2 long practice periods, which is asking our Father, what is salvation? I do not know. Tell me that I may understand. And taking those 15 minutes to really allow that understanding to come in. And then the shorter practices throughout the day will be holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Remembering that. Let me accept it instead. What is salvation, Father? What is salvation, Father? And then letting go of all the grievances. Realizing, becoming more conscious of those grievances, because they're going on all throughout the day. Every single day we have a grievance of some sort coming up. And when we can keep flicking them to the side, it's like eventually, it's like we're dusting until we can see the light. Then wait a minute or so in silence, preferably with your eyes closed, and listen for his answer. So the shorter practice periods, again, yeah, we're closing our eyes and listening for an answer. So they're pretty much similar, the longer ones and the shorter ones. We're both asking the questions, what is salvation, Father? And we're giving that time to really allow the truth to unfold. So allow that understanding to come into your world today, and really, really, you know, trust it will come. Have faith it'll be there, and it will. This course is wonderful when you give it the time and the space to really let its teachings sink in. It's going to bring you that peace and joy. I know it to be true. So wishing you a beautiful day today, and I will see you tomorrow, as always, for another lesson. Take care. Bye.